What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the overall market so far, why FOMC is going to be very, very important for this market, and how price action may look approaching the big event. I'm also going to talk about the news affecting the markets, but before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla and the markets. We're going to start off by looking at these technicals. Tesla's up 1.57% in the pre-market, showing some life, showing some strength, and Tesla's looking like it's trying to rebound towards these imbalances all the way up here. Now, with these bullish crossovers and some more bullish technicals developing, the odds do favor more upside for Tesla in the future. However, I want to break down a couple of other things before that and then talk about some intraday volatility that could be coming because of some data. So let's start off with some earnings. We had some earnings that came out this morning. Norwegian Cruise Line ended up doing kind of like all right, except their guidance was not the best. So revenue was very close to expectations. They beat on EPS, but their guidance was not the best. CVS had something similar. They beat on EPS and revenue, but guidance was very mixed. Wayfair was also kind of mixed when it came to its earnings. It actually kind of missed on revenue, but beat on EPS. And guidance is just kind of like okay. And besides that, most of these are kind of mixed left and right. So very mixed earnings for today. Going forward, we have more earnings coming out. Don't forget that for Wednesday, after the market closes, which is today, we have PayPal and Roku and a bunch of others like Qualcomm, and the list goes on. But PayPal is going to be the biggest one for today. Make sure you're ready for this. Not to mention Aapl for Thursday. Now, when it comes to other pieces of data affecting this market, I just wanted to call out that moving forward, you could see that 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI report coming out. So expect some volatility 15 minutes after the market opens, as we're going to see the market react to some manufacturing data. And then after that, we have the ISM Manufacturing PMI 30 minutes after market open, or at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. We also have the JOLTS job openings report. So this is going to be very important. These jobs numbers could have caused a very big move. And then after that, it's just crude oil data and like nothing else that's too big. We have the 17-week bill auction, so there could be some volatility at 11:30 a.m. We're not expecting too much. And after that, the market's going to become very boring, very, very boring, trading sideways, approaching the Fed interest rate hike decision. Now, when it comes to news affecting the markets, October was a scary month if you want to go that route. The market was down for 3 months in a row, but November historically tends to be stronger. We had the Treasury end up coming out, the Treasury Department, and they were making some refunding announcements, not really affecting the market that much. But the Fed is going to have the bigger effect. Don't forget at 2 o'clock p.m., we have Jerome Powell and the Fed basically announcing the rate hike decision. This is just the announcement of it. It's going to make the headlines and the future projections for rate hikes. However, the actual press conference with Powell giving his speech and such is going to be at 2:30 p.m. So we have two events coming out, which are going to be very market moving, basically starting at 2 and 2:30 p.m. JetBlue is basically down a bit, more than 10% after it basically came out with a weak forecast for Q4. And besides that, there's nothing else too crazy affecting the news, as all eyes are now going to be on Jerome Powell and the FOMC meeting. So what's going on with all of this? What do I think is going to happen approaching this? The answer is simple, guys. I think for the first, 30 to 45 minutes, the market's going to be kind of volatile, reacting to the manufacturing data, reacting to the job openings report, reacting to all this data. Then after that, I don't know if the 11:30 a.m. 17-week bill auction will cause much volatility, but what generally happens approaching the rate hike decision at 2 p.m. is the market is very sideways. The market is very boring, going back and forth and back and forth. It's going to be very slow, not really doing much. And we're going to see a big reaction then at 2 o'clock p.m. once the decision comes out. So expect some chop today, some very, very boring price action approaching the big Fed event. And then once the event starts, once we have the rate hike decision, expect volatility. And once it's 2:30 p.m., expect some crazy volatility with Jerome Powell speaking. I hope that's as clear as possible. So now looking at Tesla, how are things looking? Well, Tesla is gapping up right now. It is possible. Now, if we were to drop a bit because of the data, we could come back down to 200 and try to bounce after that. That would be like the more bearish case. The bullish case would be Tesla just tries to continue to uptrend like this, and we just respect this trend line and slowly start to fill these imbalances. And that's looking a bit more probable looking at the current technicals, right? We might see Tesla just continue, kind of trading like this, slowly going up like this if we're bullish, at least for the time being. And we are so far respecting this trend line. We're so far uptrending as Tesla's gaining some strength. Tesla also had a bullish divergence that developed on the 4-hour time frame. And when you look at, let's just say the daily chart, Tesla's looking a bit more bullish. We have a nice bullish looking daily structure developing from the daily time frame. The weekly looks like it's trying to bounce as well, holding the 200 EMA quite nicely. So here's some levels to watch for on Tesla. If we're really bullish, we need to get above 205. If we break this, watch some resistance at this imbalance near 206.7 and then 208. If we get above 208, watch 210 and then 212 above that. Right now, it's uptrending, so the odds do favor Tesla continuing to uptrend. If we break down, if we lose this trend line of support at 202.5, then expect 200. If we lose 200, it's going to come all the way down towards support around 197. I'm sorry, 198 and then 197. And then below that, we have 195. But don't forget the 200 weekly, 200 EMA on the weekly time frame is going to be key. This is looking more bullish. We're continuing to uptrend, so look for Tesla to try to fill these imbalances, and the odds do favor Tesla trying to get up to at least 206. But just to be safe, we'll see if the data helps it continue to pump. Be open-minded because of data coming out. On SPY, we've been uptrending quite a bit over the last couple of days. It's holding up very nicely. I'm going to be watching these levels very carefully. So if SPY breaks down, watch 418 as support. If we lose this, watch 417, and then 16.25 to 416 and 415 as support. For resistance, you're going to be watching this thing try to break above 418.75, which is the resistance right now for the pre-market. If it breaks that, we could get very close to 420. If we break 420, watch 422. So I think this thing may try to continue to hold up. It might be very sideways. We're going to be watching how the volatility perpetuates with the constant pieces of data that are going to be emerging. So we'll be watching how the data affects it. It might just trade sideways to start us off, and then it may become very, very choppy after the first 35, 45 minutes, and then we might just basically do nothing for a couple of hours. And then once the rate hike decision comes out at 2 p.m., expect more volatility. So that's the most likely possibility. On the QQQ, you're going to be watching some resistance very close to 352. We were talking about that level yesterday. We're getting very close to it. That's where we have this white trend line. If we break above 351.5, watch 352. If we break 352, we could push all the way up to 353.5. If we break down, watch 350 as key support. If we lose this, watch 349. If we lose that, 348 is coming. So what could happen is we kind of pop a little bit, come back down, and just continue to trade sideways as time goes on. Look for high volatility in the morning, whichever way the market goes, depending on all of this data that's coming out for the morning. And then expect lots of chop, very, very choppy price action approaching the Fed rate hike decision. So it might be kind of boring today. And then once, the rate hike decision comes at 2 o'clock p.m. right here, expect some volatility. And then with the press conference, expect even more volatility. On Nvda, we have a very interesting looking structure because when you look at Nvda, let me just pull up Nvda real quick. Nvidia is looking quite decent because on the 4-hour time frame, we have a potential inverse head and shoulders developing if it manages to hold up. So I could see it decline a little bit more towards 400 and just try to range trade for a bit between 400 and about this resistance at 411. I think that we're going to see Nvidia just go back and forth for some time, decline a little bit. It could come down a bit more towards this 411 area and bounce and just 400 area and bounce, just continue to trade sideways before we see this thing eventually rebound and start pushing back towards these imbalances. That's what technicals are suggesting, some sideways price action before some kind of bounce. So we might just see Nvidia trade sideways. It could decline a little bit first before this thing makes an attempt to bounce. And I think that we have an inverse head and shoulders like structure developing. We'll see if this holds or not. So watch resistance at 409, 410, this 411 area. Then we have 414 and 417. For support, you're going to be watching 405. If we lose that, watch 404, 402, 400, and 395. We have stronger support at 400 and 395 than the others. So watch for a potential decline on Nvidia and then some buyers to step in around 400 to 402. And look at this inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour time frame. For Apple stock, and this is going to be the last one I go over, we have this new uptrend that's being respected, like right here. We had this channel that was holding up very nicely, but Apple is not getting above it. So we could try to redraw this trend line just like that. Apple is looking like it's very sideways in the pre-market. We have this resistance at 171 point, was this 171 point, or just 171, sorry about that. And support, we have critical support at 169.5. So watch this trend line as support. We might just see Apple trade sideways for now, and then we'll see which way it breaks. So we're going to be watching it very carefully. I might just see some sideways price action and high volatility after the Fed decision, and I think Apple might just range trade for a bit. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you watch these levels and do what you have to do, and get ready for the big rate hike decision. Thanks again, guys, and peace out.